Welcome to the Deep Dive. If you're following AI, you definitely saw the news from OpenAI's Dev Day on October 8th. It felt like more than just updates.
Oh, absolutely. It felt like a statement, really. Like they're moving past the startup phase, heading towards being this, big regulated enterprise platform.
Right. So our mission today is basically to cut through the noise. We want to distill the really key shifts, platform changes, new models, the API stuff.
Exactly. Not just read the headlines, but actually dig into what these moves mean. Because honestly, it changes how you'll probably build and, importantly, monetize within their ecosystem.
Okay, so let's try and unpack this whole transformation.
Yeah, let's jump right in. Probably the biggest thing for anyone building stuff has to be the platform shift, right? ChatGPT becoming an actual application ecosystem.
That's the headline grabber for sure, the new Apps SDK.
And how is that different from the old plugins? Because plugins were kind of limited. Totally different. Plugins were, well, they were basically fancy API calls, right? They could fetch data. But the Apps SDK, this lets partners embed full, genuinely interactive applications. Think custom UIs, unique workflows, all inside ChatGPT.
Inside it. So ChatGPT becomes more like an operating system or an app store.
Kind of. It's definitely a distribution channel now, not just a clever front end.
And the kicker, I guess, is the monetization. I saw names like Canva, Zillow, Figma. They can build full tools in ChatGPT.
Exactly. And OpenAI is setting it up so those partners can eventually monetize those embedded apps. It's not just about using OpenAI's AI anymore. It's about doing your business through their interface.
Wow. Okay, so that changes OpenAI's own business model too then.
Yeah.
They take a cut, presumably.
Precisely. It opens up a whole new revenue stream based on the value these third-party apps generate.
Okay. And alongside this app platform idea, there was AgentKit. That sounds important.
Very important. AgentKit is basically OpenAI saying, we know you need more than just models to build real agents. It's their stack for building and deploying autonomous agents.
What's in that stack? What does it actually give developers?
It's pretty comprehensive. There's a visual agent builder. They did a demo building one super fast, like under 8 minutes on stage.
Wow.
Yeah. Then there's ChatKit for the UI, but critically it includes guardrails and evals. These are the pieces for making agents production ready.
Guardrails and evils. So that's about safety and reliability. What does hardened production agents mean with these tools?
It means making them robust, predictable, safe, which, enterprises demand. Guardrails are like automatic safety filters stopping bad or biased output. Evils are automated testing frameworks.
Okay, so you can test your agent against known problems before you launch it.
Exactly. Test, validate, benchmark. They want fast development, sure, but they also want the output to be controlled and safe right from the start. Seems like they're trying to avoid those rogue AI stories.
Makes sense, especially for corporate clients. Okay, moving away from the platform structure. Now let's talk developer tools. Codex went GA.
Yep. Codex general availability. And just like the other announcements, it's positioned as a whole strategic thing, not just a feature ad.
So it's not just code completion anymore.
No, much more. It's a full developer tool stack. There's a new SDK, deep integration with Slack, which is interesting, and really crucial enterprise controls. Think security, auditing, that kind of stuff.
Right. Those controls for code reviews, integrating into CLI and IDEs.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like it's aimed squarely at large development teams.
Absolutely. And the adoption numbers they hinted at were kind of jaw-dropping.
Oh, yeah. What did they say?
Well, one anecdote mentioned internal teams crediting Codex with contributing to something like 80% of pull requests in some builds.
80%?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Now, that doesn't mean it wrote 80% of the final code, but it was involved in the drafting or iteration that much. That's a huge level of integration, speeding things up massively, so you need those robust tools around it.
Incredible. Okay, let's shift to the models themselves and the cost, because this is where things get really interesting strategically. They launched GPT-5 Pro.
Right. If AgentKit is safety, GPT-5 Pro is pure horsepower. It's aimed at the really heavy reasoning tasks you'd access via the API.
But the price, that seemed to catch everyone's attention.
It's aggressive. The numbers floating around the community based on tracking were $15 for input and a whopping $120 for output per million tokens.
Whoa, $120 for output. That is not cheap. That's definitely not a utility model.
Exactly. It's positioned as a premium high-cost service for specialized heavy-duty work.
So is OpenAI Basically segmenting the market, like pushing mid-tier users towards cheaper options, because $120 per million is a serious cost.
It looks exactly like segmentation, and a very intentional segmentation at that. GPT-5 Pro is the top tier for complex stuff, financial modeling, maybe deep science research, analyzing huge data sets where you pay that premium for the best reasoning.
But did they offer anything cheaper? Otherwise, they might alienate a lot of people.
They did, and this is key. At the same time, they launched cost-optimized mini models.
Ah, okay. Like,
Well, there's GPT Real-Time Mini. It's apparently around 70% cheaper, specifically for high-volume speech-to-speech stuff, and GPT Image 1 Mini, which is like 80% cheaper for certain image tasks.
got it. So high costs for the heavy thinking and specialized low-cost models for high-volume utility tasks. That makes strategic sense.
Yep. Basically, we have options, but the top-tier reasoning costs top dollar.
Okay, strategy clarified. Let's pivot completely now. Multimedia. Sora 2 APIs are here. Video generation via API is finally a thing.
It's a huge step technologically. Sora 2 isn't just API access either. It brings sound generation, remixing features, better control over duration.
The creative potential seems massive. I saw Mattel's already using it for concepting.
Yeah, for sketch-to-concept workflows, rapidly visualizing ideas. It's impressive stuff.
But again, let's talk cost and controversy. The pricing seemed noticeable, starting at 10 cents a second for 720p.
Yeah, 10 cents a second for Sora 2 at 720p, going up to 30 cents for Pro at 720p, or even 50 cents a second for 1024p Pro. It adds up.
But beyond the cost, the immediate reaction online seemed to be all about censorship, the IP restrictions.
Oh yeah, this blew up almost immediately after the announcement. People started hitting this IP wall.
What do you mean IP wall?
Users reported that prompts were suddenly getting rewritten or outright blocked if they tried to generate content based on existing copyrighted stuff. The classic example everyone jumped on was trying to make Dragon Ball Z content.
Ah, right. So you couldn't just ask for, like, Goku fighting Frieza.
Apparently not. The model started sanitizing prompts aggressively. You'd have to describe it vaguely, like anime character with spiky yellow hair fighting an alien. You know, strip out the actual IP references.
Doesn't that massively limit creativity?
Yeah.
Especially for the fans and early adopters who popularize these tools by making fan art and things like that?
It absolutely does shrink the creative space, yes. But it's a calculated risk, and it fits that whole enterprise narrative we talked about.
How so?
By aggressively blocking copyrighted material, OpenAI is sending a very clear signal to big companies, the ones worried about lawsuits, that they are prioritizing IP safety and legal compliance above pretty much everything else.
So they're choosing the stability of enterprise deals over the maybe messier, but more viral creativity of the general user base.
It certainly looks that way. It's like they're maturing into a media provider that has to be incredibly careful about rights.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Connect all these pieces, the Apps SDK, GPT-5 Pro costs, Sora 2's IP rules, to the bigger picture of scale and infrastructure. The numbers they shared were pretty mind-boggling.
They really are. Over 6 billion tokens per minute through the API, 4 million developers, 800 million weekly ChatGPT users. That kind of scale forces huge infrastructure decisions.
Which brings us to the AMD deal. That sounded massive.
Multi-year, multi-billion-dollar deal for AMD Instinct GPUs. They mentioned deploying 6 gigawatts worth. That's GW. A huge amount of power and compute.
What's the significance of choosing AMD specifically? NVIDIA has dominated AI hardware.
It's huge. It's diversification. For years, everyone relied almost solely on NVIDIA. By making this huge bet on AMD, OpenAI gets supply chain security, probably better pricing leverage, and crucially, they reduce their dependence on a single vendor. It shows just how massive their operational scale is now.
But while OpenAI builds this powerful but kind of closed and expensive walled garden, what's happening outside? What about the competition, especially open-weight models?
That's the counter-narrative, and it's picking up steam fast. We're seeing Chinese open-weight models like Qwen and GLM getting a lot more attention.
Open-weight, meaning the model details are more public. Modifiable?
Yeah. Generally, yeah. The model weights or key components are available, unlike OpenAI's models, which are closed black boxes.
And what's the appeal there for developers compared to OpenAI's platform? Well, developers are talking about them as being really capable, sometimes comparing them to models like Claude for complex tasks, but with two big advantages: much more generous usage limits and significantly lower running costs. Lower costs how?
If you run these models yourself or use a cloud provider specializing in them, your operational expense can be a fraction of paying for something like GPT-5 Pro's API. So they're emerging as a really strong alternative, especially for developers who want more control and lower costs outside of OpenAI's tightly regulated, high-priced ecosystem.
Okay, so let's try and tie this all together. After this huge dev day, what are the main takeaways for you, for the listener?
I think three things really stand out. First, ChatGPT is absolutely becoming an application platform focused on monetization and enterprise integration via the Apps SDK. That's clear.
Right.
Second, the model strategy is all about segmentation. Premium, high-cost reasoning with GPT-5 Pro, and efficient, cheaper, specialized models for high-volume tasks.
Makes sense. And the third?
And third, the Sora 2 IP crackdown shows OpenAI is firmly planting its flag as a regulated, safety-first platform aiming for enterprise trust, even if it alienates some creators. They've chosen their path.
So connecting it all, it really feels like OpenAI is doubling down on being this stable, high-revenue, corporate-focused entity. Safety first, performance second, cost. Well, cost is high for the top tier.
That seems to be the clear strategic direction now, yes.
Which leaves us with a final thought, maybe. Considering that very high cost for GPT-5 Pro 120 per $1 million tokens output, and the immediate pretty strict IP censorship in Sora 2, you have to wonder, how long can commercial platforms keep this dominance? Especially when you have these open-weight alternatives growing stronger.
Alternatives that offer much lower costs and way fewer content restrictions.
Exactly. Could those start pulling developers, maybe even mainstream users, away from the big commercial platforms like OpenAI? Especially if cost and creative freedom become bigger sticking points, that's definitely something for you to think about as you plan your own projects.